All right, welcome everybody to the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net. My name's Nick, KN6DAL, and appreciate everybody coming out tonight. First and foremost, I just want to take a minute to thank all of the people that are supporters and owners of the repeaters and all of the different connections that we use. That includes, but is not limited to, the W6VVR repeater and the Vac Valley Radio Club, Contra Costa Fusion repeater group, the Freestar Network, and WG5EK for all of the work that they do to keep everybody connected. And before we get going with all the fun tonight, we're going to take a moment and just see if there's any priority traffic out there. If there is at any time during the anti-net, you can come in and say break, break with your call sign, and we will clear the air for you. Is there any priority traffic at this time? All right, nothing being heard. The 2 Meter Crew is not an actual club. We're just a group of amateur radio operators. We're learning, enjoying all things ham related. There's no dues or fees or anything to sign up for. The 2 Meter Crew has an active Discord group. You're welcome to jump in and join. We'll post that in the comments as we go, and it's also in the bottom of the YouTube page if you want to check that out. This is an open net. Everybody is welcome to join, so feel free to chime in and say hi. The 2 Meter Crew meets every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on the W6VVR repeater, and the repeater is down in Vacaville, California, with a frequency of 145.470, a negative offset of 600 kilohertz, and a PL tone of 127.3. And that's not the half of it. We've got a lot of different digital ways to connect. We've got Echo Link. You can reach us at WG5EEK-L or W6VVR-R. We're also linked through All-Star with multiple different nodes connected, one of which is 51094 and 51010. DMR Talk Group 3149964. YSF Reflector 24033, and the Contra Costa repeater system is live with the anti-net. That is YSF and Wires X Room, both 80280. The Freestar group links with us for the anti-net, and their all-star links are 2195 and 53375. All right, and last but not least, the Anti-Net is streamed live right here at Northwest Ham Shack. You can like and subscribe if you like what you see, and hit that notification bell. It'll let you know when we go live and give you a chance to jump in and chat with us. So before we get started on our topic, wanted to take a minute and just get our feelers out there. Is there anybody out there that just got their call sign, just recently passed a test, upgraded their license? If so, come on in and say hi.
Maybe see if Terry's out there. We missed her last week.
All right, we're going to give it one more chance here. Anybody in the last, say, 30 days that just upgraded their license, passed their test, just got their call sign, anybody like that, come on in now and say hi to us, and we want to congratulate you on either an upgrade or a passing of your ticket. Okay, nothing being heard. We'll move on to our topic. Keep in mind, we're going to leave a lot of room tonight for check ins. If anybody wants to check in and say hi, they're welcome to. Doesn't necessarily have to be topic related. We just like to throw out different topics as we go through and see what people have to share. Sometimes we learn quite a bit that way. And so tonight's topic is emergency preparation. And what I wanted to talk about is, there's a lot of different aspects to the ham radio hobby, and one of the things that got me involved in it right from the beginning was it's the event that I could use it in an emergency. That was kind of the draw for me to go get my license. And so some of the questions that I had for myself is, what am I doing about my life and my personal situation in the event of an emergency, and what kind of emergencies am I preparing for? And so one of the things that I do is, and this is not necessarily just related to amateur radio, but my wife and I keep a stockpile of food that covers us for, say, a couple of months, a generator in case we need it that could power some smaller items in our house, and more or less just conversation throughout the days and months with each other and with our kids about what we would do if we ever got separated. As far as communication wise goes with the hobby, one of the things that we have is we have a set frequency that we all know that we can access on any radio that I have, and we will use that in the event that we need to. I'm going to let this drop for a second. So as far as just normal everyday preparation, my intent is to be prepared for, say, I have to shelter in my home and I can't leave in the event of some sort of natural disaster. The only thing that I'm probably not prepared for is a really long-term stint, and I think that would involve investing a little bit more money in something that could keep me satiated, I guess you could say, for a longer period of time, like a long-term generator that could power my entire house or something like that. And I'm excited to hear what other people have to say about this topic, because it seems like every time it comes up, there's inevitably somebody that has something that I had never heard of that makes me think, oh yeah, maybe I should think about that. But one of the things that I am interested in is what type of emergencies people are preparing for. What kind of plans have they put in place for that? And then as far as communication, what are you doing amateur radio wise to prepare yourself in the event, other than just talking every day? Getting on a repeater, learning how your system works as far as your station and simplex is also a very vital role in communication in the event of an emergency. One thing that I've seen a lot of people do that I haven't really done is like a go bag or a go box communication wise. I do have a backup HF radio that's in a backpack with a just a long wire antenna, and some water and a couple of hiking supplies and a first aid kit. But that's kind of the extent of my go bag preparation. So I'm also curious to see what else other people have as far as that goes. I'm gonna let this drop. Now, the last thing that came to mind for me in regards to emergency preparedness, just overall emergency preparedness, is I'm interested in hearing, and I'm going to ask this question to everybody. In an emergency scenario, uh, can you give me a scenario where you were prepared and that helped you? Or can you give me a scenario where being unprepared might have made things a little bit more challenging, and maybe some life experiences that could have been helpful to other people through your trials as you grew with that? So before I take check-ins from the crowd, I want to hear from. I've got a couple of people in the chat here with me tonight. I've got Aaron and Justin. So Justin, if you could, I just want to take a minute and maybe hear a little bit about what you do as far as emergency preparations. Maybe what may or may not have gotten you started off on it, and just kind of share your experience with that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I let it drop. Hold on.
KM6ZTH. Yes. I think most of us that have recently gotten into ham probably had some kind of MCOM in mind. Um, and I know for me, the concept of being prepared was instilled in me young. I've been a Boy Scout. I am an Eagle Scout, so the concept of always be prepared. I am the guy that has too much stuff in his truck or too much stuff on the campsite, but I'm always the guy who can take care of stuff, right? Like that's part of what I'm used to doing. And if I don't have the right thing, I'm going to find the way to do it. So for me, I'm not so worried about every emergency. I treat everything like it possibly could be an emergency at any point in time. So, my day to day, even though I'm a kind of a desk job because I fix and repair stuff for my station, almost always on my side is a flashlight, a Leatherman, a pocket knife, here, I'll switch the cameras. We'll get fancy. A lighter, a knife. I've recently started carrying for cell phones and whatnot, battery backups, and this particular one happens to have a compass, and it's solar powered. So I mean, these are things that I'm just carrying, not even prepped for. I do have some other preparations, but I tend to think when I think of family and I think of things outside of that, I think about food and water. So I've got the jugs of water, kind of the basic California emergency prep kit. But the other thing I think about is food long term, fish, right? Like for as much as I want to think I'm going to go out and get a deer or get something else somewhere else, I know where there's lakes. I know where there's bodies of water. I'm always near them. That's a sustainable, thing of protein. So making sure I always have fishing gear is kind of key for me. So, and then if I can, beer. But, that's maybe not so emergency, prep. KM6ZTH.
All right, KN60AL. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, the kind of the takeaway I got from that is tools, and that's a good point. Is you can have the food is going to go away. The food storage is eventually going to run out, but having the ability to create an environment in which you can eat is definitely really important. So, yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. Aaron, W6AEF. Chime in. Let us know a little bit about yourself. KN68.
Hey, thanks, Nick. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, W6AEF here. So Justin's everyday carry is insane. I love that. No, so that's a whole nother level of emergency preparedness or just preparedness in general, is having a killer everyday carry kit. So similar to Justin, I carry a knife always. Can never catch me without a knife. Always have to have a knife. Fixed blade, even better. Mora knife, the Swedish Mora knife. We get a fire steel on the end of that. You can't beat that either. Those things are bomber. But I would say, similar to the rest of you folks, it's kind of the basics first. Do I have food? Do I have water? Do I have some space blankets? My truck is, kind of the mobile piece of that as well. So I've got a machete in there. I've got camping gear in there that I always keep. There's a bag in there that never leaves in the truck. So you've got emergency preparedness at home. You bug in, you stay in. You've got stuff in the car if you got to take off. That includes the radio. But I would say, some of the things that we don't think about are medication. I've got kiddos, and making sure you've got the Benadryl for the kiddos, or if you're on prescription drugs, that's important to put away. So I've got a bag that always stays ready here in the garage. I would say, what prompted it? I'm going to let it drop, Nick. I think what prompted it for me, I'm not a Boy Scout. interestingly enough, that came later in my life when I got interested in all the outdoor stuff. And I wouldn't call myself a prepper per se, but I love being prepared. I'm the guy here in the neighborhood that if something goes down, they make fun of me, my wife, like, what do you need all this stuff? We got a generator, you got solar panels, you got solar panels on the roof, you got a Goal Zero, portable battery, you got portable solar. Like, why do you need that? Like, if something goes down, you're going to want to be with me. I'll tell you that. I've got the water, I've got the filters, I've got the fishing poles, right? So it's just kind of thinking outside the box. Part of it is hobby stuff too. Like, I like to fish, but beyond that, like 2 years ago, there was a fire in the open space behind my house. I was out of town traveling on business. My wife is here alone with my 2 boys. They had to be evacuated. No bueno. Super scary situation. My kiddos had kind of PSD, sleeping at night, police going down the street, you need to evacuate, knocking on the door. It scared the hell out of them. And, that kind of hit home for us. And so we did a little more due diligence around the preparation piece. But I think you mentioned it, Nick, talking to your children about kind of what to do. Like, these kids were freaked out. My wife was freaked out. I wasn't here. We didn't really have that kind of a plan. All else put aside, like all of the kind of logistics piece, right? The gear piece of it aside, it's like we didn't really talk about kind of where we need to go, what we need to do, or how we're going to communicate with one another. So I'm going to let it drop here. W6 AEF, Aaron and Moraga. So I guess that was the point at which it kind of hit home. I wasn't a ham at that time when it all happened. And that's part of my journey, and integrating the communications piece into that. But I wouldn't say that we were, as a family, at the point of, pick up the radio, know where to go, or what have you. But that's kind of my story. I could survive out of the truck, out of the house. I'm kind of like Justin. I keep things on my person at all times that I find necessary, like a lighter, right? Especially those ones that don't blow over in the wind. Those kinds of things, little things you can do. The other part that we often, those of you with kids, which I know a lot of you have, it's a first aid kit, man. I can't tell you how many places I go with my kids, and we go remote places that people don't bring water and they don't bring first aid. So it's having the Band-Aids, having the stuff, but I would say the other piece of it is knowing how to use your skills to help somebody in that situation. There was a kid at the skate park that dislocated his ankle, fractured it. He hit another kid, and everybody ran away. I ran towards it, right? So having the comfort and understanding of how to treat an emergency type situation, first and foremost for your family. And that's where my motivation comes in. If I'm out in a remote place with my kids and one of them, which it's happened, falls off the side and rolls down, 20 feet because they're being stupid or think they're Superman, you have to be prepared for that. So the other part is kind of the first aid piece. All right, that's all I got, Nick. W6 AEF. That was a mouthful. Thank you for letting me entertain you this evening. See you guys.
All right, Aaron. Thank you so much for chiming in. This is Nick, KN6DAL. I want to hear from everybody else, whoever's out on the repeaters, digital modes, any connection anywhere. Come on in and tell us a little bit about your emergency preparedness tactics, maybe a little bit about what your setup is, or if not, whether you plan to do that or not, or what your reasons are. So anybody, anywhere, come on in now and say hi.
KM6TAX.
All right, KN6DAL, I got Ted the Taxman, KM6TAX. Go ahead.
This is KM6TAX Ted, and I'm in Martinez right now. And, yep, just wanted to say a real quick thing here. I got to head in here, get my boys. But, yeah, this was the ham radio was kind of my last piece of the puzzle, we can call it, for preparedness, we'll say. I figured I had a lot of other areas covered. Pretty much everything. I don't want to get into it all. It's been a journey these last, 10, 15 years I've been doing it. So, yeah, ham radio was definitely the kind of last piece of the puzzle, and I'm sure glad that I added it to it, because it totally makes sense to have that as part of your plan. So, anyway, I can't go into too much details. I could talk all night about this, but yeah, I heard a lot of good stuff earlier. Anyway, this is KM6TAX10 in Martinez.
Hey, Nick, I'm going to jump in real quick.
KM6QLG, Phil.
Okay, 1 second, Aaron.
Go ahead.
All right, Ted. Thanks so much for checking in with us tonight. Aaron, did you have a question?
Yeah, KM6TAXW6AEF. Ted, so the question is, did you get the Whitney lottery spot? That's a whole nother level of preparedness and a whole nother topic that we should probably hit on. But I heard you out there, and I wanted to check in to see if you got the ticket to get to Whitney.
KM6TAX, yes, I sure did. And, yep, it's exciting. So, going to be planning for that. And I was just riding my my one wheel around in Briones. I should have been hiking, but that's going to come. I'm going to start training hard for it. And a lot of other longer hikes that I've done in the past, I didn't really prepare for them, and I probably should have. It would have went a lot better, probably less hurtful on my body, but I still made it through all the different exciting adventures. But yeah, this time I'm going to definitely train hard. So, anyway, KM6TAX.
KM6QLG, Phil.
All right.
Hey, thanks. Hey, thanks, Ted. Sorry, Nick. Go ahead. I'll let you jump in for the other station. Thanks, Ted. I know that was a big deal, so thank you for sharing that. All right, Nick, KN6DAL, take over.
Next station I had come in was KN6ULG. Take it away.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate this topic tonight. It's something that we all need to be prepared for. I myself, just little things like the Leatherman wave on my belt before you put my wallet in, and you carry all the essentials with you. But this topic is very interesting. I think it's very well needed, especially in these times. And a lot of the thoughts that have come across, I have, don't have, and I'm waiting for more. I appreciate this topic. It's very well needed.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the kind words. KN6ULG, what was your name and what area are you from?
KM6QLG, Vacaville. Name's Phil. Vaca Valley Club member also.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you jumping in tonight, Phil, and sharing a little with us. You're always welcome back on. Again, this is Nick, KN6DAL, taking any stations. Who we got out there?
KN6, NRC, Terry and Dixon.
KN6 NRC Terry, welcome aboard. I had called out for you last week because I know that you'd finally got your call sign. And I just want to say big old congratulations to that. And yeah, take it away. Good to hear you.
Fortunate that I couldn't get on last week because, I got my ICOM 5100 together and my antenna And so I'm actually, using my new rig here.
Well, I gotta say, Terry, you sound absolutely fantastic coming over the radio tonight. Great to have you. Tell us a little bit about emergency preparedness. Is that something that you've gotten involved in?
We doubled there.
Sorry, Terry. KN6DAL, take it away.
This is for identification. This is KN6 NRC Terry and Dixon, and I was just talking about how I couldn't get on last week because I was working late. I work for public health here in Solano County, and emergency preparedness is something that I actually train. I train it to our older and disabled adults population. And so there's a lot of, unfortunately, I just was able to get on just a few minutes ago, so I haven't heard what everyone has said. But I'm sure willing to share if need be. Over.
Yeah, so a little recap on kind of just what we were discussing is just sort of, what kind of emergencies do you prepare for? What preparations have you actually put in place? Do you have a communication plan in regards to that? If you have to leave your home or go to somewhere else, do you have like a go bag or a go box in place? And maybe more than anything, what I'd love to hear is if somebody has a story about a situation where a scenario took place that an emergency happened and being prepared helped them in that scenario, or on the completely other side of the coin is being unprepared maybe hindered their ability to do something or made things more challenging for them. But if you want to speak to any of that, you're welcome to. I would like to invite you into the chat tonight if you wanted to maybe go into a little more depth on some of that training that you do. That sounds absolutely interesting. Back to you, Terry. KN6DA.
Yeah, I'll be happy to come on to the Zoom or whatever happens later today. But I guess the number one thing that I would tell you is always make sure if you have older parents or older people in your family that they know how to operate their garage door when the power goes out. That a lot of older people don't know what to do, and my mother actually almost clipped off 3 of her fingers trying to get the door shut because she wasn't prepared. So please teach, anyone who doesn't know how to lower a garage or raise a garage door to get out, how to do it.
That's fantastic advice, Terry. And you brought up kind of another underlying point that I think a lot of people maybe don't necessarily think about when it comes to emergency preparedness. Everybody wants to get ready for the next zombie apocalypse, right? But are you thinking on a level of things that are actually going to benefit you in a small or minor emergency? Power outage, for instance. We have a world around us that is so automated that it makes things very convenient in our lifestyle. But when that power fails, things become more challenging. And are we prepared to handle some of those little challenges? And just like that, honestly, I had never even thought of that. I couldn't tell you right now if everyone in my family or the older children and everybody else is capable or even knows how to do that. So that's a really, really good point, and I'm glad you brought it up. So thank you for that, Terry, and I'll let you say your last piece, and then we will move on to the next station. This is KN6DAL, back to KN6NRL. Sorry, NRC.
KN6 NRC. I'll just say just another line, and then I'll let somebody else speak. But certainly the other thing is to make sure that you go around your home with fires and all of that stuff that's happened. I can't recommend it if you just take your phone out and you just record all of your belongings, etc., And then always back up all your computer files on the flash drive and carry that with you. So those are the other two pieces of advice that I would give. And with that, this is Terry Dixon, KN6NRC, and I'm out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in, Terry. And I got your call sign wrong there the last time. Sorry about that. KN6NRC. Appreciate that. Welcome, and looking forward to talking to you in Zoom later tonight. Again, this is Nick, KN6DAL. Looking for any check-ins anywhere. Come on in now.
This is KN6GST. Good evening.
KN6GST. Sandy, good evening and happy birthday. How are you?
This is the most happy birthdays I've gotten in one day. That's really cool. Gig, because I was in, the fire service, and I was a FEMA train-the-trainer for CERT. And, I had to write manuals, and I had to train the trainer and train people to train people. And the one thing I have to say is always be prepared for things you're not prepared for. And that means disaster psychology, just knowing what to do with what you have. Another thing the younger generation doesn't realize, cash will still be king. So have a lot of cash on hand. I know that's something we don't do. And place for your elders, your senior citizens, know how to operate a fire extinguisher. I could go on, but you guys know the list you should compile all your goodies with, but it all comes down to common sense and knowing what to do with what you have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sandy. And I'm glad that you've gotten a million different happy birthdays. It's always good to feel appreciated on your birthday, and you deserve it. You've done quite a bit for us, and we appreciate your time that you spend chiming in and jumping into Zoom and saying hi and everything that you do. So I will take any other stations coming in. Come on in now. This is Nick, KN6DAL with the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net, and we're looking for any station check-ins.
KN6MGK, Kilo November 6, Mike Golf, Kilo out of Chico.
All right, KN6MGK out of Chico, you sound great. Come on in, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, yeah, sometimes I can hit this repeater okay, so the conditions must be pretty good tonight, I guess. Anyway, located here in Chico, California. I've been a ham for a few months now, and just got a general license. Got my ticket for that, and went on to the 40-meter band. Built myself a little dipole and put that in the air. And yeah, I've been having some fun on 40 meters, actually, meeting some people and talking a little bit further distance-wise. It's been real fun. And that, then helping some other local hams that need some antenna work done, or on the roof or something like that. Just having all kinds of fun in this hobby, learning new things. Got a hot spot, been working on figuring out D-Star a little bit more. Yeah, that's about it. KN6MGK.
All right, well, thanks for checking in with us tonight, and congratulations on getting your license, upgrading to general. The 40-meter dipole is pretty cool. There's a QSO party going on for the last man standing all through the rest of the week and through this weekend, and I know that's going to be heavily involving 40 meters. They were on last night, so definitely check that out. But good to hear you're making contacts and making the most out of the hobby. It's always fun to hear the energy from operators when they get a cool new station set up and get going. So appreciate you chiming in, and you sounded great coming in from Chico. So this is Nick, KN6DAL, taking any stations. Come on in.
KN6VNQ.
KN6ZNQ, Brian, sound great. Come on in.
Oh, yes. Hello, Nick. Hello to the rest of the 2-meter crew. This is KN6BNQ transmitting from the northwest corner of Woodlands. Well, as the majority of you know me, I'm basically the most portable HF operator out of the bunch. I've timed myself, actually, as of recent. It takes me basically 5 minutes on the dot to deploy my setup in a clear open field and just use the tailgate of my truck as a bench and the tonneau cover of the bed as a table. And it takes me about 7 minutes to take it all down and get on the move again. So, portable-wise, I'd say I'm basically set. And hopefully within the next week, I should complete a Mars mod on both my handheld and hopefully my mobile. In the event that all hell breaks loose, no one's going to care about FCC Part 97 certification rules and whatnot. They're just going to know, hey, can you talk to somebody and save our lives? So overall, I'd say I'd be pretty prepared in the next week or so. So good evening, everyone. And thanks for hosting the net again. Nick, this is KN6 of VNQ.
All right, Brian, thanks for chiming in tonight. Your signal sounds really good tonight, by the way. KN6DAL, looking for any stations. Come on in now.
Kilo 6, Baker, X-Ray, Papa. This is Brian, and having fun getting some stuff converted over to Arden Mesh stuff. Check out the website that they've got. Cool things to learn. Which also can be utilized in emergency situations on the local level.
Hey, thanks for chiming in with us, Brian, K6BXP. Yeah, so I haven't really experienced much, and I haven't looked into the Arden Mesh thing yet, but I will check out their website and maybe get a little bit more information on that. Interesting stuff. Thank you for checking in with us tonight. This is Nick, KN6DAL, looking for any check-ins. Anybody come in and say hi. Somebody tried that. Not happening. All right, it is 7:40 now, so here in a little bit we're going to be wrapping it up and moving over into Zoom. But we do have time for a few more check-ins if anybody wants to check in. It looks like we got Servando graced us with his presence in the Zoom chat here. Servando, you want to chime in and say hi a little bit?
Hey Nick, K6SRV. Just wanted to, emergency communication, super important. I think honestly, when it comes down to it, I think as long as you have some type of plan, I mean, something's better than nothing, right? And I just want to remind people, if you don't have a plan, if it's not something that you've thought about, definitely come up with, even if it means like stashing a Bofang in your glove box or something, or your wife's or your girlfriend's glove box without them even knowing, with a little note on how to use it on the fly, Yeah, little, I'm fairly new to all of this, and as far as the emergency side of things, I'm just, I got my brothers set up on their radios, and we kind of have like 3 frequencies that we know we use all the time. So, very basic, very minimal, but definitely looking into beefing that up. K6SRV.
KM6ZTH. Did I hear that right, Servando? You have a Baofeng in both your girlfriend and your wife's car?
I think he
Did I
was.
say and?
I think he was trying to
I
be
said
hypothetical
or.
about it, but
Or.
But yeah, feel free to try to explain yourself, Servando.
Yeah, I mean, they both don't have to know.
Yeah,
Hey,
you know,
it's an
it's
emergency, right?
it's actually a good point you brought up about that. Is just kind of pushing people in the right direction. It kind of alludes to what Sandy had said was, just be prepared for anything. Be prepared for what you don't think you would even need to be prepared for. So yeah, good stuff. Any other stations out there want to check in with the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net on the topic of emergency preparedness? We're going to get ready to move over to Zoom here in the next few minutes. But if you have something you want to say on the air, feel free to come in now.
November 6, Echo Tango Romeo. This is Dan in Vacaville.
N6ETR, Dan. How's it going tonight?
Doing all right, thank you. It's KN6ETR. Doing well. Enjoying just kind of listening to the net on the side here. A lot of great ideas. I know this topic is of particular interest to me after last year's LMU fires, and just wanted to toss a quick bit of advice. Since the LMU fires, I keep approximately 10 gallons of fresh water in the shed in plastic tanks and 3 gallons of frozen drinkable water in the freezer. So, in case for whatever reason, if you live in a rural area and you need water and your well shuts down, or if you lose power and your fridge dies, you've got frozen blocks of ice in the fridge. Anyway, that's it. That's my thought.
All right, KN6ETR, Dan, thank you for checking in with us tonight. And yes, good point. That's the one thing that we can't live without for any length of time, and that's fresh water. I didn't mention this in the beginning, but one of the things that I do have in my totes full of food and stuff is I have water filtration devices, so that if I'm and I carry a water filter with me when I hike, and I like to go on 2-3 day or more hikes, and you just can't carry the amount of water that you need to stay hydrated in that, and so I carry a filtration system that I can filter the water, and so that's definitely something to consider as well. So thank you for that, Dan. Let's see if we got any other stations out there. Anybody want to check in?
Yes, KN6ULG, Phil. On the topic of water, you can all day long, like, the MRE mills and stuff, they also have pouches. You can buy cases of them of water, little, foil packs, 3 ounces or whatever. You can keep them in your vehicle, for a short-term thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Also on the topic of water, and it's funny this keeps coming up, but yeah, keeping it in different locations. Dan had mentioned keeping it in your house and having additional supplies in case you need it. And then to top that off, that's absolutely correct. I think it was Phil, was it right? I believe it was Phil. Had just made the mention of keeping something to keep you hydrated in your vehicle. And I used to actually keep a few just bottles of water, but I don't think I have enough to sustain. Like if I had a family trip and say we got stuck somewhere where we couldn't make it to go get water, I don't know how long we would last. We might wither away. So it's definitely something to consider, and I'm probably going to be bringing a few bottles of water out with me when I'm on my way to work tomorrow. So thanks for that. Let's see who else we got out there. This is Nick, KN6DAL with the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net, looking for check-ins. Come on in.
Kilo 7, November Delta Oscar, K7 Indio, Nick's neighbor, very close.
K7 NDO, we hear you loud and clear. Come on in. Tell us a little bit about emergency preparedness.
K7 Indio here. Well, good evening, Nick and everybody else there on the net. I'm not prepared. Okay, if I'm being honest, I am a live for the day type of fella. Don't worry about tomorrow. Live for the minute. And I know it's horrible. Whatever. What does society and the norm say we should be, huh? I'm not prepared. I mean, I was a little bit during this whole horrible pandemic that was last year and all this foolishness that's going on and everything else. You know what? It is what it is, and I'll accept what I accept, and, what's it going to do? If the bomb drops, I don't care how much ammo and water and there is and canned goods, right? So, I take it for what it is, and what's going to happen is what's going to happen. So, footloose and fancy free. But I love ham radio, and I love being a part of the net. Back to you, Nick, K7 Indio.
All right, K7 Indio. Thank you so much for checking in with us tonight. Appreciate it. This is Nick, KN6DAL. Got time for maybe one or two more check-ins, and then we'll be moving over to Zoom. I did post that in the YouTube chat for anybody that wants to join. Feel free to come on in. We'll be opening that waiting up room up very shortly. And it looks like we already got a couple people waiting to come in. Any last check-ins that want to come in and say hi before we shut it down? This is Nick, KN6DAL, QRZ to any and all stations.
Mike 0, Victor Uniform Bravo.
Mike 0, Victor Uniform Bravo. Shane, how are you this evening? You sound great coming into the repeater systems here. I think I owe you a little bit of an apology because we had you check in last week and then we kind of skipped over you a little bit. So the floor is yours. Thanks for coming in tonight.
No problem, Nick. No problem at all. I called in last week. I can remember now, but I was so tired. I just went to bed. It's quite late here in the UK, about 2:45 in the morning. But anyway, yeah, I'm just coming on my Baofeng. I'm on a little headset that came with it. A $10 Baofeng. That's what I'm on at the minute, Nick. And nice to hear everybody there in Vacaville. My name's Shane in Nottingham, United Kingdom. Emergencies. Now, I have got something prepared for emergencies. I've got my shack. My entire shack is backed up with a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply unit, and it's got two 17 amp hour batteries in, two 12 volt 17 amp hour batteries in parallel. And when we do have power cuts on a very rare occasion, the shack is completely powered up, and the XYO is very, very angry at me because the TV's gone off, but I can still play radio. I can still be on the computer. I've got, I can have the 3G, get out on the internet. I've still got all my shack equipment. I've got at least an hour's worth of power before I drain it, so I just make sure that I'm transmitting low power, and I can be on it for most of the night with my UPS power supply, which basically it comes from the mains into the UPS, and everything else is powered from the UPS. And that also cleans up my power as well. Gives me a nice clean supply for my HF equipment. Makes a real difference. So that's my my little sort of emergency power supply situation here in Nottingham. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure getting on the net, and absolutely great having you on the network as well. I've got a surprise for you. I'm going to be launching the website very soon on Saturday, and if you've got any artwork, Nick, any images, any artwork, any links, anything like that, let me know. I'll stick it all in the website for you, Nick. Anyway, it's been great. From Shane in Nottingham, back to net control, M0VOB.
All right. Thank you so much, Shane, for checking in with us tonight. M0VUB. For those of you that don't know Shane, the poor guy is up really, really late tonight to say hi to us. So we really appreciate that, Shane. And also, Shane is one of the founders of the Free Star Network, which is one of the linked all-star systems that we are hooked up to right now. Thank you so much for your work on that. And I will chat with you on the side about the artwork. That'll be great. And for those of you that want to learn a little bit more about that, it sounds like the website, which I have actually went on a couple of times just to reference, they have all of their different connections going right now. But they're looking at updating that, and that is at freestar.network. So if you want to go check that out, it should be a whole new fit and finish here coming up in the near future. So thank you for that, Shane, and we appreciate it. And with that, I'll take one last check-in, and then we're gonna send it on over to Zoom. For those of you that want to join us in the Zoom chat, we have that posted in the YouTube, and you're welcome to come in anytime. Any check-ins, any final check-ins before we shut down the 2-meter crew Anti-Net?
Yeah, this is Phil, KM6QLG. I went to YouTube and I went to comments. I'm seeing link to Discord and the 2-meter crew net, but I'm not seeing Zoom.
If you click on the button that says live chat on the right hand corner and scroll all the way down to the bottom, it's like the third from the bottom, and I'm going to post it one more time before we move over there. Actually, Aaron beat me to it. Look at that. Thank you for that, Aaron. Yeah, so if you look in the live chat, it changes every week, so there's no way for me to really post it in the comments section. It's a lot easier just to post it in the live chat, but Phil, you are absolutely welcome to come in if you can find that link and join in with us. With that, I'm going to say goodbye to the repeater systems. Appreciate everybody and all the support that you have given for that. Justin, do you have something you want to chime in on?
We have one last thing here, Nick. We can't let this go.
Okay.
They're not with us tonight, but this is far too important. So if you were to look over on our Discord, and you all should join us there because there's a lot going on, the featured member on QRZ is none other than N6 CMB Chris. And, happy birthday, Sandy, KN6 GST, but also the Geek. He's not here tonight because he's enjoying his birthday, but happy birthday to WG5EEK.
Yeah, we do want to put a big shout out. Mike is kind of one of the masterminds on our side here as far as all the digital connectivity. He's taught me pretty much everything that I know about All-Star, interlinking All-Star with different things like DMR and YSF and stuff. It's the way that we're connected through the YSF reflector for Contra Costa tonight is through the help of Mike getting my station set up to do that. He's done a lot for us, so he's probably listening, enjoying his birthday and his night off from the rigmarole of the 2-meter crew. But yeah, we definitely appreciate that. So thank you for throwing that out there, Justin. And with that, I'm going to return the repeaters back to normal operation. I'll say 7-3 to everybody, and we will see you all over in Discord or in Zoom. 7-3. KN6 DAL will be clear.
AM radio, which I had, and I did, and I tuned it to AM, and I've driven around.
I still
Instant
have
party.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm going to return the repeater back to normal operation. I'll say 7-3 to
Mute it, Mike. There we go.
It's like the 5-second delay.
So a number of us have 70Ds, right? Anyone
Yeah.
have a line on a good battery? I haven't been to work in a while.
Yeah,
and I
2.
actually took this.
The only solution is 2.
Yeah,
I have 2
but
batteries.
like bigger.
Yeah. No, they don't. I don't think they make a bigger battery for it.
Dang.
I honestly, I love the way that radio sounds. The battery life is just is brutal, you know. So my 878, I don't even have it in the shack with me here. My 878 is the battery life on it. I even downgraded the battery. So I have a 3100 milliamp battery for the 878 Anytone, and a 2100, which is flat, and it's way easier to like carry on your belt and stuff. The 2100 of like talking intermittently to and from work and things like that through a hotspot, just normal use, lasts me like 2 days. The 3100 lasts me like 3 or 4 days. I mean, I could sit there. I've sat there and talked on that thing for an hour and a half straight, and it doesn't even ding the battery.
I haven't keyed up once. I've only done the link to Coco through my hotspot like 4 or 5 times. That's it, and it's
Yeah.
almost dead.
And it's unfortunate because the audio quality on the 70 is so great. It would be, and it's just not a viable emergency radio in my opinion because of the battery life. You can't rely on that radio. If you had to rely on one radio in your shack, that for me that would be at the bottom of my list just because of the battery life. It's unfortunate because that radio sounds. I haven't heard the 3DR, but every report that I've ever heard from anybody ever has been that the 70D blows it out of the water audio quality wise. So it's unfortunate that the battery life sucks. Yasu, figure it out, please, and get back to us. Thank you.
Bigger batteries.
Yeah.
So true.
What's going on, Bert?
What's going on, man? I just got home and I was like trying to listen in and all this and that. I still
Where do you park
do
that
work
thing?
Still.
Looks like
This
you're
thing?
still in your spaceship. Where do you park it?
Yeah, it's in the garage.
Got to keep it clean. Got to keep it out of
You
the
don't
weather,
just
right?
stay in orbit?
Nah. I gotta bring it down every so often to fill up the gas.
The gas. What's going on, guys?
Good show, guys.
Nada.
Good show.
I have to remember. I have to do it now, and I have to say it live that I am disconnecting the Coco Fusion repeater system as we speak
Oh.
because I always forget, and they remind me like in the middle of the night because that's when
Still on.
everybody from like
Yeah.
Freestar is waking up, so they start having conversations, and it's all over the west side of the United States, and it's all my fault from little old Everett, Washington. So yeah, I didn't see Terry. Oh, I didn't let Terry in.
Come
I
on,
left her in
Nick.
the waiting room. Come on, you
Nick.
guys.
Oh man, what are you doing?
Hey, Sandy. Question: You're out on your patio. You're out on
Sorry,
your patio.
Uh-huh.
Is the bottle of wine that's been there for 2 months still sitting there? I need to see it. Is it
Okay.
partly open, or is it just sitting there still? Poor Sandy's had a bottle of wine still there.
But
Now's the
It's
time.
still here.
She's got the Go Kit out there. That's the cool part.
Yes, it's here. Well, I figured, right? It has to star for the show, right?
Looking
there it is.
good.
Yeah. Well, I figured
nice.
I'd better make a showing for the disaster night, right? So there you
Exactly. Nice.
go. Yeah.
Hey, Terry.
There's Terry.
How's it going, Terry?
Hi, Terry.
Oh,
Sorry,
Good.
I left you in the waiting room. I'm sorry.
I know. I
It
was
was
there
my fault.
twice. I
Like
had
a
to
doctor's office.
I know.
I'm an amateur.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
That's like the real emergency room. You sit in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Like,
Not anymore. They let you sit at home and then they text you.
Right. Unless you're having a heart attack.
That's true. Actually, you wait out in the parking lot and then they text you.
There
Let's
you go.
talk about that
Yeah.
part. Yeah. hmm Been there, done that.
Yep.
Now everyone's quiet.
Well, why is everybody so quiet?
We're tired. We're
It's a
Sandy.
library today.
working
Oh,
a bunch of
thank you,
hours.
Jerry. I had more birthday wishes than I've ever had in my life today. This is kind of bizarre, but thank you.
Problem.
Well, so I had posted something on Discord saying happy birthday to Mike, and I think Mike and you might be friends on Facebook or something, because
Yeah, me and Mike are, and I wished him a
Okay.
happy birthday too, because I said,
Yeah.
"Oh no, another one!"
and
Yeah.
so then he mentioned to me that it was your birthday, and then he posted
Oh
it,
man,
and I was
it's like
well,
telephone teleham or something.
yeah,
I don't know.
we can't leave Sandy out of the mix here, and so now you're getting all the birthday wishes from near and far.
Oh
So
yeah,
just
you
soak them
know,
up.
well, this is unusual. After a certain age, you don't hear them. So I just been telling everybody, if you're dyslexic, I'm 16 today. So
There you go.
Oh.
There you go.
yeah.
I'm 39 with a couple of anniversaries, maybe
Yeah.
maybe 13 of them. 39, yeah, 13, yeah. That'll
There you go.
So,
Roy, what's happening this evening?
Oh, happy birthday to the birthday girl. And
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I was given a chore last week about getting onto Echolink and a DMR. I got a DMR number and I do have an Echolink, and it was easy to kick into and get hooked up to you guys' website, or this site anyway. So that's about what I've been playing around with. I gotta get this little 878 Anytone fixed up to a DMR, little DMR. But then I got in the mail today, I got a new what I call it, a Sky Bridge from Bridgecom.
Oh yeah, I got one of those, a hotspot. Yeah, there you go.
Spot, and I got to figure out how to get that hooked up to this handheld, and that's one of the things I've got to do. And so I've got the instructions in the book, in the box, and trying to I need to go over and read those again a couple of times, and then go to their website. I guess they got a university website that comes in free with it. It's a dual band hotspot. So it's going to be interesting on how to get it hooked up.
Yeah, the Bridgecom, I have one of those, and they do a pretty good job as far as their manuals and the videos and stuff. I mean, I would say the kind of the software, I forget, the PyStar or whatever the setup software is, not too hard to figure out. You pick your frequency, but I tell you, on my GD Radiality radio, I had the devil trying to program it. I eventually had to call a friend, and KD6KWV helped me out programming the actual radio and all the code plug and DMR stuff. That's where I found the challenge. The hotspot was fairly straightforward, but very cool that you got some new toys to play with.
Yeah, well, I got some playing around to do.
That's good.
I got to figure, how do you guys get these backgrounds figured into your background?
Well, Bert's actually sitting in a spaceship, and Servando is actually in outer space. And no,
I'm an illegal alien. I don't need air.
there's a setting for.
He's out on the satellite someplace, huh?
Yeah, you go to the settings in the upper right-hand corner, and they have background and filters.
Ah.
There you go, Wonder Woman.
Hey. But yeah, I had just sitting here listening and learning more about what's going on, and that's about really what I got to do. Connect it up here to the laptop I got, and then I've got another laptop here that's got Linux on it, and I got to play around with getting that Linux version updated some more. And I'm not sure if I want to go to the BSD Debian. Right now I've got what is it? Ubu.
Ubu. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. So Roy, you're going next level now. So you go from the Pi stuff to the Win. Now you're talking Linux.
Yeah.
You just went like a whole another S unit.
Yeah,
Like...
but I was doing some Unix conversions from Fortran to Unix at Boeing's one before I left, and I wanted something that I could work here at home, so I found Linux to play with, and it's been a while since I played with it for quite a while, but I need to start reading up on some more of it.
Well, it's always good to see you out here. Good to see your face out here, and always enjoy talking to you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, and it's always a pleasure to listen in and learn more about what's going on.
Hey, Roy, have you worked with the programming software on that at all? On the Anytone?
Do what?
Have you used the programming software at all on the Anytone yet?
Well, I tried to hook it up to my the software that came down in firmware. I've got firmware 1.21, I believe, and then there's a new update to 1.22. And on the RF side, it doesn't seem like it's getting, it says it's transmitting, and I can hear it through the other two radios I have here, but it doesn't get out to the repeater. So I've got to get my antenna on a magnetic antenna up on the roof, and then hook into that coax and see if I can get out to the repeater that way. Yeah. It doesn't matter if I'm on high, low, or medium power on a Anytone. It just doesn't. I've been out in the car and driven around in different places, and I still don't hit the repeater.
Yeah, sometimes that can be a little harder with a handheld. But,
yeah, because I don't have the laptop with me, and the repeater that I'm trying to play with is that 146.96, which is on Capitol Hill in Seattle. And I can get there with my 2730 with no problem, and the antenna is hooked to my telescope next to the window. So at least that part I can get to the repeater that way. But with either one of these handhelds, the Anytone or the Bofang, neither one of them will connect up to the repeater. And I've got a person that came in and sent me an email with all the help channels and code plug for the Anytone, or for the Bofang.
Yeah.
So I've had both of those out in the car and never have figured out how to hit the repeater. I guess I'm drive down Seattle and stand underneath that repeater that's there at Capitol Hill.
Yeah, well, that repeater doesn't have a very good. Depending on where you're at, you can typically receive it, but it receives your signal only from Capitol Hill, and it has a couple of satellite transmitters that help it get out a little bit further. So yeah. I don't know, and I don't know all the details about that, so I could be wrong. But I get it really scratchy at my house, and I have a huge antenna on top of my roof, and I can hit repeaters almost 100 miles away, and that repeater is scratchy to me. So I don't think it's all you.
From Everett to you, to Capitol Hill, it's about 40 miles.
Yeah, so I mean, I should be full quieting into that repeater, and there's noise on its signal every time to me. So, I mean, I can hit repeaters up in Vancouver, BC, from my house, and that's quite a bit further away. So, I don't know what to say. I think it's just because maybe it's because it's a little bit lower level or something. It could be anything, but they might sort it out and make it a little bit better.
Well, with the voter scope thing that they have on the Puget Sound repeater group that goes through that repeater, they show Forest Park and Capitol Hill,
Yeah.
Cougar Mountain, and I'm sitting right under. I'm almost right under Cougar Mountain, so I'm gonna have to see if I can find that code for Cougar Mountain.
Yeah.
And but I can get into Tiger Mountain pretty good with the was it Mike and Key people and talk to them. It's just, but that's all through my 2730. It's not through any of these handheld stuff.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting what you had brought to the table there, Terry, about the garage door thing. That was cool. So, you know, one thing that, and I had said this on air, but I'll just kind of repeat that a little bit. One thing that it's really easy to overlook when you talk about like the emergency preparedness is everybody thinks like big tornado is coming to town. What do I do? You know, they think big. They think outside of the realm of what's absolutely necessary right now. And then you threw this bombshell in there of make sure you can do the simplest little things that you would normally do. You know, that I thought that was really, really good. So thank you for sharing that.
No problem. Like I said, that's actually, I think there was legislation sponsored in Solano County over this exact issue. But the funny thing was I showed my mother how to, pull the red cord. But what I didn't think to show her is where to grab the garage to pull it down. I didn't think, because that was the simplest of things. And so they had an emergency. They had to get out, no power. She pulls the cord, and then they had a double emergency because she put her fingers in between the slats, pulled down, and she managed to pull her left hand out, but she almost lost a couple of fingers. Had to rush her to emergency. So I always say follow it from step one all the way to the end, but that is the main thing. Without power, a lot of people, if they're told to evacuate, they want to leave their car with their car. And if they don't know how to get out of the garage, they're stuck. And so that's really important. And for me, we live in Dixon, so we've been fairly safe from the fires. But I remember last year when that fire, jumped from one side of the freeway to the other. I remember I was staying with my parents in Napa, and I remember calling to my home here to my husband and saying, record everything, because, my brother went through the campfire up in Paradise, and it takes a long time. And if you don't have good records of what you had, it just takes a long time for those insurance companies to come through for you. So that's why, all those things are important here in California because of the fires. Of course, I have a go bag in my car at all times. I encourage, so do my parents. My dad has Parkinson's, and so they've got an emergency plan of where to meet, where they'll meet me if need be, with him, so that we can, get good care of him. But these are all things you have to think about,
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess my emergency pack is my motorhome that's underneath the tarp alongside the house. I just go out there and unplug it and climb in and
there you
pull
go.
out.
That reminds me of The Walking Dead. That's a great thing.
Do you guys ever have that conversation, Rick, with your club and on your repeater system about emergency preparation or anything?
Yeah, let me catch you up. So I was listening from about 7 to 7:25, and then we had our club net 7:30 to when I showed up here. But yeah, I'm president of one club, but member of the local Aries ACS club. And so we do regular wind link practices and things like that. And honestly, one of the things that they of course advocate and that I've never done is go bags in the car and that sort of thing. Coincidentally though, I did just get a generator. It just arrived yesterday. And so I got a a Furman 2000 watt ultra quiet. So it's about 55 pounds and it'll fit in the trunk of the car. And
Great.
Oh, wow.
so anyway, finally had a generator.
Yeah, it's always good to have even a little generator, just something you can create some
Yes.
sort of power. If need be, a small generator will power like one item. And a lot of times that would be like a refrigerator, or maybe it's a heater or something. But some of those comforts, are just enough to hold you over. So that's always good to have. I have a generator, and I have a really big one, but it needs to be repaired. It hasn't ran in quite a long time, and that one's enough to power the entire house. But my small generator will fire right up, and I can, run some appliances or whatever I need to be. But one thing that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to generators is making sure that you have the right type of converter if you're going to run very expensive radio equipment off of it. Because if you just think you're going to go to AutoZone or somewhere or to O'Reilly's and buy a AC to DC converter or something and plug it right into your generator, you're going to blow up a really nice piece of equipment doing that. So you need either a true sine wave converter or run a linear power supply or something like that. So.
And Nick, you bring up a good point about the generator not powering necessarily everything, but like here in California, and this is going to happen more, folks, we're going to be having more power outages. I mean, just face it. And one of the things, it happened not too long ago. I was at work and, my girl was like, oh, the power's out. And I was like, oh, it'll come back on. It'll come back on. And then we go hours and hours and hours. We got a 5-month-old baby and a 13-year-old. 13-year-old's mad because her Wi-Fi's down, but the 5-month-old, we got to keep that milk in the freezer going. You know what I mean? So that got me really thinking. And they actually have generator transfer switches that you can buy, and you can, with a little bit of research, you can actually wire these in yourself in the garage. And you just trace the most important circuits, right? So for us, it was the fridge, the stove, because we are lame and have a electric stove, but so the stove, the fridge, and then one outlet, one extra outlet, right? To be able to get power to charge your phones and stuff. And you can power, when the power goes off, you hit the switch, transfers to the generator, and it has a male plug so that you can plug in the generator there with an extension cord. Now, obviously, you got to worry about like ventilation, right? You don't want to have the generator in the garage. You got to have some kind of ventilation, right? But that's super important. I think that's super beneficial. The box isn't that expensive. It's like $150. And if you can wire it in yourself, I think that's like one of the best investments you can make.
Well, Costco's been having really good sales on some of their generators too lately. My brother's been hounding me to get one, and I just haven't prioritized it yet.
By the way, that's where I got mine. Costco had a Furman
Yes.
2000 watt generator for $350.
That's correct. Yes, that's it. Yes. That's it. You got it.
Good old Costco. They sell everything.
We got Dan KN6ETR in the Zoom chat here. Dan, you have anything you want to chime in with?
I'm just listening in, Nick. Thanks. I'm working on a ham radio that will. I'm just working on a ham radio right now, so sorry. It's funny when this net started, I was wondering, and this is far out. This is really far out, but electric magnetic pulse that kills a lot of electronics. I'm working on something that doesn't use transistors, so I'm in the clear when it actually does work. But do people ever consider just radio protection or electronic protection in general during circumstances like this?
Yeah, I wish Carlos was here because he has a good story about that. He had a fairly inexpensive radio, but regardless of the cost, it was a radio that he used every single day. And he was testing that out on a generator and damaged the radio, and it was irreparable or not worth repairing for whatever reason. But it's something to consider. Are we considering? Not only do we have it's easy enough to throw an HT in a go bag, but if we want to have utilization of, say, HF for some reason. I don't know that I'm even necessarily super prepared for that, or at least I don't know if the equipment that I have will run off a generator properly without damaging it. So it's definitely worth investigating for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, you think they'd make, I don't know much about this stuff, but you think they'd make like for example, it's a remote GFI, like trip breaker. So you can plug anything into, if you don't have a GFI outlet wired in your home, it's a remote thing that just kind of intercepts your extension cord or whatever. I don't know if they make something like that to help, I guess a surge protector perhaps.
They do.
Yeah.
They totally have them. We use them in construction all the time.
Oh, cool.
Really, you should be using that like when you're using like power washers, the old electric power washers before they came with the GFCIs, like on the actual cord. That's what you should be using for sure.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know as far as would a typical surge protector for like a computer protect that radio, like what we just talked about from the generator? I don't know, but I think that's something that every ham should consider and maybe have in their shack.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I've heard a little bit of information about this, but I don't know that I'm necessarily knowledgeable enough to speak to what will work and what won't. Other than I think it requires more research, and that might be a good takeaway from tonight's conversation. And realistically, that's kind of what we try to do on the Anti-Net, is come up with these questions that we don't know the answer to get people to think about it. So. To anybody in the chat that is here, or anybody out there, if you have more information about how to protect your electronic equipment, or maybe some links to some websites with some people that have done that would be really helpful. But yeah, that's a really good point, Dan. Oh, and we got Jason, Ham Radio TV, showed up in the chat on YouTube. What's up, Jason? He said that a Faraday cage would be your best bet for electromagnetic pulses, but who knows if that would work.
How about a galvanized trash can?
Yeah, something. If we all just huddle together with our tinfoil hats on, will that do any amount of damage?
What if you kept it in the washing machine or the dryer?
Yeah.
I guess you just need a tin shield, right? I mean, I've even heard of people using microwaves.
Yeah, because they do contain it, that's for sure. Yeah, so I think I'm going to shut down the live stream. Now, as far as the Zoom chat, we're going to keep that going here for a few more minutes. So if anybody wants to jump in and say hi, we'll have that Zoom chat going, and you're welcome to join in. But as far as YouTube goes, I'm going to say 7-3 to everybody out there, and hopefully y'all have a good night, and we will catch you next week. Next week we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but next week we're going to be doing a simplex test in the local area of Northern California. So those of you that want to take part in that, definitely check out next week. We've got something really cool planned, and there will be more to come. If you want to hear more about that, join our Discord group, and we will get you that information. So thanks, everybody, for jumping out tonight. I'll say 7-3, and we will see you next week.